Hi, hello, g'day, kia ora, welcome to the studio. I'm Paula from MoxyMojo. Thank you for joining me for my contribution to the December Daily Advent Christmas Clusters for 2025, hosted by the amazing Tracie Fox. I'm just going to quickly flick them through so that you can see them before I cut them up, because there is just so much amazing pieces, or not so much, so many, I should say. So many amazing pieces in this freebie. Now, the link for where you can get the freebie is down in the description below, and you can get that from the Tracie Fox Creative Ko-fi page or coffee page, depending on, how you want to pronounce it. And there is also the link to the calendar, so you can see all the other amazing creations throughout the month of December from everybody else who is participating and collaborating in this event. So I've printed out the 4 pages on single-sided matte photo paper that's 130 GSM, and I've printed it on my Brother printer. I've done all my fussy cutting, and let me just say I cut out way more than I needed because everything was so gorgeous and I couldn't make up my mind what I wanted to use. But I've finally made some decisions, and we are ready to construct our Christmas cluster. Right, so what am I using? I still haven't decided what I'm doing with these, but I want to use these, and I need to make up my mind pretty quick because it's going to be the first thing I do. I don't know if I'm going to use just a single strip or I'm going to cut them apart, because I don't know how Tracie's designed it, whether you cut apart all the different things and then that gives you a whole lot of different bits, or you use it as a whole, and that's really cool because it gives you options to do either. But I can't make up my mind. There's too many decisions. So I think I'm going to go with that one and leave it whole, even though I'm really, really tempted to do chopper parts because I love the plaids, but I think it would be too much to do all plaid. So we'll put those aside for now. Right, so I'm using as kind of the base for this a scrap of file folder, and that's, the hanging ones that we're all kind of on the lookout for in second-hand shops. Well, I went through my collection, and because I wanted to decide which colour suited, and who knew there were so many colours available. I certainly didn't. So I found the one that kind of matches the best according to my colour eye. So we've got this. All I've done is I've cut a strip. So I now need to work out what size I want. And if I just go purely around that strip, how big is that going to be? Because that will take me, if I go to say that first fold, in which case I need to make it just slightly thinner, but that is 8 inches and 3/32 or 20.5 centimeters. My thinking is kind of belly band kind of idea. And I know it's not an ephemera, it's just a cluster that we're making. But I kind of like the idea of a cluster that goes on a belly band. But my first idea, and this is like some scribble paper. So excuse, no, here we go. it's better. I don't need to see my scribbles. But is that going to be big enough? And yes, so if I cut that actually down a wee bit, so if I make it the height of the page, which is 21 centimetres, so it's only half a centimetre more, then we're good. So we're going to trim this to 21. I've been trying to record this for most of the afternoon, but there've been so many planes flying overhead and everyone's out mowing their lawns, or I've just had to wait because someone's had a chainsaw out. You know, the joys of living in the southern hemisphere, and it's heading towards summer, so everyone's out working on the gardens. Right, there we go. Now there is one little fold there, so I mean that can go at the bottom, I think, and we'll just put that in the middle, or if we do it up and then have like a little wee space down the bottom, that is okay. Now do I want to round the corners? Yes, I think I do. But I only want like a little round, so we'll try this. But rounding now. Is that round? Yep. Hopefully you can hear all the birds that are chirping, even though I've got the windows closed. But they sound wonderful here. So I love our house backs onto some native bush, so we are constantly surrounded by bird song. I think that just like finishes it off a little, makes it look nice. Before we do that, I was gonna ink like bits, and I've picked out 3 colours, so I'm not sure which way to go. I've got lumberjack plaid, speckled egg, and vintage photo, all in distress oxides. I want to try the lumberjack speckled egg, and you have to bear with me because this is a new sponge. So let's see. I'm just going to go round very lightly for me, and inking all this edge, just because if I have cut slightly crooked, this hides the fact that I can't cut straight. Okay, so there we go. Nice. And that matches nicely with that the card of that file folder. Well, use your words, Paula. Use your words. Okay, so we've got that there. So let's put that on. Why not? Using our art glitter glue. Going around. Try not to get it too big of a blob anywhere, but a bit late for that. And then try not to get glue all over our hands. Alright. Pin, pin, pin. Put you back. Alright, now, here we go. So we're going to make sure that it's kind of even on the sides. Going straight down, probably getting ink all over my hand. Is that even? Yep. Flatten that out. Nice. Right. Decision made. Yep. Wee bit of ink on my fingers. Just don't want to smear it in places that I don't want it. Like that. I love that colour with it. Looks good. Alright, so I'm going to be using something that's not part of the Freebies. All it is like a card, you know, playing card sized. So I'm going to use that. We're going to go around again with our ink. Yeah, this is the perfect colour, I think. I'm glad I went with that and not something else. And all I'm really doing is making sure that we haven't got white edges along here. Now, what I'm going to do is I've got some wool and like fluffy wool. I couldn't tell you like what this one is. This one is from Mommy's Knitting, called Fantasy. It is made in China. I don't know where you get them because I picked them up at the op shop. They were, you know, and I grabbed, I think, like 2 bags of random fluffy white wool, thinking, oh, that looks cool. I'm sure I can use that for something. So this one is like snowballs with kind of a translucent fluff, and this one is a real fluffy white with white and then long bits. And all I'm going to do is take the ends of the wool and put that to the back of our card and wrap it around, just the 2 of them together, 3 times. You can do it as many as you like, but 3 seem to work for me. We're then going to take our scissors and cut off, because that's all we need. And then we want some sellotape. You could use washi tape, I suppose. It's just I've only got some bright red on my table at the moment. And all it is we're going to kind of attach the ends together, and I want it to kind of hold as flat as possible. So I might do another couple of bits. There. And there. Alright, so there we go. Looks cool. Kind of gives the idea of snow, do you think? I think it looks quite cute, all fluffy like that. Alright, so that is going to sit on top. Yes, I know we're going to be hiding. I want it there because I love this red poinsettia. Right, so we've got that. To attach this in place, because it is so dimensional under there with the wool wrapped around, I'm going to use some very thin foam adhesive. It's only about about a 1mm thick, so that's like not even a 1/16 of an inch, so it's really thin foam. And peel it off. I'm just checking. Yeah, it's pretty good adhesive on there, so I don't need to worry about adding any more adhesive on there. So I'm putting these on an angle just so that I've got sort of coverage on both sides of the curve. And at the moment they've still got the backing on. It's just while I get them in place. I'm just trying to work out how many I need to add. Now I might put one in the middle as well, or slightly off center I should say, just so that we've got, because we've got the depth here, so we want it to be even at both ends of the card. Alright, there we go. I'm putting this off center, so it's going to be on one side like this, which when we flip over means that this side is going to be hanging off. So I'm not going to remove these, or the backing on these three, until I actually put it into what it is. Now, so we're just going to take these backing off, this backing off. And remember, just the one side only at this stage. And then we want this to go, and I'm going just inside the card. So we're slightly off the printable underneath, so that I've got like a staggered edge and it's not too matchy. See if you can see that? See, we're over sort of halfway or a third of the way towards the edge here than we are. If that makes sense? Does that make sense? I hope so. Right, so now we can fluff about this a wee bit more. Now we're going to attach this. Now, one thing I noticed after I'd been playing about with it, that it's actually directional. And you can see there's tree here and tree here. So you would, normally use it this way. But I want to use it this way. So I'm going to tuck it in so you can't actually see that tree's there. So first of all, do we want to round the corners? Yeah, I think we will. I hadn't planned on doing it, but now I think we might. Just because it gives me that kind of consistency of the different components in the creation. And it helps the cluster look more cohesive. Doesn't that sound like a whole lot of big words? Right, just using that same Distress Oxide ink. That's Speckled Egg. See that? Kind of looks like it's now got a frosted look around the edge. So there's our tree. So we're hiding that behind our wall. But we're going to go off to one side. So it's not going to be completely hidden, but no one will ever know. And we're going to glue kind of half of the image only. Because again, part of it's going to be sticking off. And if we're using this as a belly band, then we want to be able to slide things underneath, and I hold it so that I know which side I'm going to glue. And we're just going to do like this triangle here. We'll put out, pin back in our glue eventually. And so sliding this in, and then we're going to tuck it off to the side. There we go. And I am going to just, even though next layer down has got the foam on it, I am just going to glue that down up there. Not so much worried about there. Just checking we haven't got any glue off the side. But what we can do, and you can do if you want, is put a little bit of glue just on the edge here of the card to hold it down, just so that if it is an issue and you're not wanting to, and you're wanting to make sure that it's not going to lift up, then you see just under there is my glue. So now that's nicely adhered onto there. Looking quite cool. So now we've formed the base for our main character, shall we say. Our star of the show, this adorable little wee penguin. And as soon as I saw the printables, I knew I had to use him or her in this, because penguins are something that we do have in New Zealand. I was looking at some of the animals and we don't have them here. Like bears, we don't have brown bears here. We do have hedgehogs though, so I could have used that. Right, now I'm looking at, I want to put him there. So he's like standing on the snow. Now, first of all, we want to go round. So we're going to use this. I just want to see, and I'm just very lightly tapping. I want to do something a wee bit tricky here. So I've just got a piece of scrap cardboard, and it's quite thick. I'm going to get my blade. And this is quite a sharp blade, so I've got to be careful. I just want to go through the photo paper, not actually through the cardboard and into my craft mat. And I'm going to cut along the penguin's wing. So, following this line. And then that should be enough. Yeah, I'm going to leave it attached down the bottom because that's given me enough for what I want to do. Because what we're going to do is, now these are a couple of editions, and I think these are from the Tim Holtz Christmas Ephemera, or what is it? I'll put the proper name in there. And these are the Christmas one from a couple of years ago now. And so I'm going to use a special delivery, but also one of these Coal and Ice Co. Tickets. And these are the smallest ones. And I'm just going to cut them into, or cut one off the bottom, because I only want one. But I just thought it would, our little wee penguin would have a ticket for the ice company. Maybe it's a ticket on the ice company bus or something like that. And I'm just going to trim off the ends a wee bit. I don't want it too big. And you're probably thinking this is kind of a weird thing to add, but it will make sense in the end. So now this, I'm not, do I want to ink it? Yeah, maybe we might ink with this lumberjack plaid. Just a teeny weeny bit. Just to touch the edges. Trying to barely even pounce on the edge, because I don't want it to go too far on. Don't want to cover like too much of the image in the front. Alright, just dry off any excess, because I know that's a very juicy ink pad. Right, so now that's going to tuck underneath the wing. So I'm just going to work out how much I want through and glue that under there. Just a wee blob of glue will do, just to stop it from moving. And then make sure, I quite like the fact that it's, you know, hanging off a wee bit. And we will in fact actually just kind of bend it up a wee bit. So we've got a wee bit of dimension there. Now, so what we're going to do now is sit this on there. And again, we're going to use our foam bits and pieces, not on the feet, but pretty much from the ankles up, shall we say. And we may need to actually put 2 or 3 stacked, because the wool is just so thick. And you just need to be very careful that you don't go over the edges with these, because they tend to be quite, and it's lost its stick on that side, that's okay. These tend to be quite sticky, and pretty much once they're down, that's it. So you do need to be very careful with them. I need to be very careful. No, we do need a second layer. So now I'll take the backing off these and put a second layer on them. Now, so these have all got their backing still on them. So now we can make sure if that's enough. And yeah, I think that will do. I don't want it any higher than that. So now we will remove all the backings and we can adhere this in place. I've found that most of this foam adhesive is really sticky, so you don't need to add any more adhesive to help it stay, unlike some of the like different adhesives like washi tape. If you want that to stay permanent, you need to add some more adhesive. With foam tape, it is definitely permanent. Now you need to make sure you are absolutely certain that you are putting this in the right place. because you won't be able to move it. So then we're going to push that snow down and there. Look at that, really fluffy snow. Now, I've got 2 more things to add. And, I mean, this one is, I'm pretty sure is, that's going over there, so that's not a problem. So we'll just go again round it with our lumberjack plaid. Alright, and I'm just, because it's juicy, drying this, make sure it's not going to smear everywhere. That's good. And I want that just across there. And I'm just going to adhere it directly onto that square journal card underneath. Again, don't need too much glue on there. We don't want it going everywhere. Paula, listen to yourself. And, whoops, wobbling everywhere. We're just going to use that corner there and make sure that looks pretty straight. Yep. Now, this is my tough decision, was I love that top hat so much, but I think it needs to be the Santa hat. And why I'm doing that is that because that gives me the 3 bits there of our image. So we're just going to, first of all, we're going to, because we're like doing the red, we're going to do the outside of the hat in the red. And then dry that, just to make sure that there's no edges. But then the white bit I want to do with our speckled egg. And actually, because I've got a wee bit on there, I might just, I quite like that. So it's giving it a, like that frosty look. So now I'm just going, I need to adhere pretty much just the equivalent of the band of the hat. And because it's quite a lot of glue there, just spread that out. And now we make sure we've got it on a pretty dapper angle. There we go, that is my cluster with my friendly, gorgeous little wee penguin with lots of yabbering in and around. I hope there's some ideas there that you might like to try yourself, whether it is layering onto something or like using the wool, using the foam adhesive to create dimension, because I mean you can see there's quite a bit of dimension there, but it's also not too much. And I mean that would be lovely. You could put that on a page of a journal. You could put that on the front of a journal if you wanted. You could just use it as a bookmark. You like put a hole in the top, attach a tassel, and that would be wonderful. That would be quite a cool bookmark. So there we go. Now the only thing I'm going to do, and just purely because I want to remember this, is I'm just going to attach this to the back just with my scissors. There we go. So I've got there what it is and what it relates to, and I'm just going to put this along the side so that I can remember. And then I'm going to put this into my journal of samples. Samples. I don't say samples. Journal of samples. So that I can look back on it and get some ideas for the future. And yes, we have something going on in the background. There we go. So now I know what it was created for. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly had fun. I loved it. And I think that looks absolutely gorgeous. I hope you enjoyed this quick little wee demo. Hopefully it hasn't turned out to be too long after all the editing and yakking and everything else. I can't wait to see what everyone else creates. I'm going to go and play with some of the other bits and pieces that I've cut out. But I will see you back in the studio. Bye for now.